Hi, this is your professor for human trafficking, Judy Paparozzi, and I'm getting the impression that a lot of you have not taken the time to watch the videos that I produced on how to write up your summary of our country of the week. And I know that you're all overwhelmed at the beginning of the semester, but I want to give you some pointers that I've been giving in the gradebook for you. First of all, there's a document, how to write up a tier ranking from the TIP report with examples. This is the first page of it. I know you're seeing it backwards, but where I have it highlighted yellow, it tells you to go to the examples under each one. So tier 1 says a country whose government fully complies. I don't want you to use that bolded one. I want you to use the example. For example, for a tier 1, the USA is ranked as a tier 1 country, which is a country whose government fully complies with the TVPA's minimum standards. For this week, for the Ukraine, it should have read, under, as I said, under the example, not the bolded area, which is the law, but I want you to use my example, specifically because I want you to make sure that you write it the way that I've spelled it out, because it'll guide you to capitalizing the tiers, it'll guide you to using the pronoun it, as opposed to their when you're referring to Ukraine or a country or government. So I have a reason for doing this, and I also want to see if you can follow directions, which is very important in life. So for the Ukraine, under the example it says Ukraine is ranked as a tier 2 country, which is a country whose government does not fully comply with the TVPA's minimum standards, but is making significant efforts to bring itself into compliance with those standards. That's the language I want you to use, nothing else. I don't want you to find it anywhere on the internet. I want you to copy and paste from this document. Now you can't copy and paste from anything else, but you may copy and paste from this document, how to write up a tier ranking from the TIP report with the examples highlighted in yellow. Please from now on do that, because every time you do it I'm taking off 10 points. So you didn't get above a 90 if you did that this week, because I warned everybody to use this document right from the beginning of the class. Now when it comes to putting an apostrophe S on NGO, that's absolutely incorrect, but the world does it, but I don't want you to do it. So the plural of NGO is NGO and then a small s, okay? So capital N, capital G, capital O, small s, no apostrophe. That's a mistake that the rest of the world makes, but we're not going to make in my class. Please capitalize the tier rankings. So tier 1 is capital T-I-E-R, 1, tier 2, etc. And as I pointed out to a lot of you last week, the pronoun for a country is it, although we don't hear that a lot in the world. We hear it said wrong all the time. So we'll talk about, Ukraine and their government. Well, no, it's its government, because Ukraine is only one country, so its pronoun is it. And it's like my biggest pet peeve in grammar, when someone uses their, and I hear it on the news, all the news channels say it wrong, but I want you to use it, and ITS is the possessive for it, it's like for it, like his is the possessive for he. So, and then IT apostrophe S is only one word, it is. There is no other variation on it. It's it, it's ITS, and IT apostrophe S, which means it is. So let's get those, make sure we get those straight. Please use the template, or at least use the instructions from the template, because you're making mistakes because you're not using the template because you don't want to use it. And by the way, with Nigeria, you will see that now there's going to be a plagiarism check. So it will check plagiarism, and I'm pretty liberal about it if it stays under 50%, because I know the template is part of it. You may use the categories of the template, but to not use anything at all is not acceptable. Now, when it comes to possession, a plural word is S apostrophe, and a singular word is apostrophe S. So my name is Judy, so if I want to reference Judy's books, it would be J-U-D-I, I spell it weird, I don't spell it J-U-D-Y, J-U-D-I apostrophe S, because I'm only one person. But if I'm talking about the parents concerned, and I'm referring to two parents, it would be the word parent with an S and an apostrophe afterwards. And there are some exceptions to that. Words like children is apostrophe S because it's a mass noun, so it's kind of treated as one entity, children, and it sounds like it should be plural, but it's singular in English in terms of showing possession. So the children's would be the word children, apostrophe S, men's would be MEN, apostrophe S, women's would be women, apostrophe S, etc. So there are some exceptions. If you make a mistake, no problem, I'll point it out to you, but most of you are not even doing the apostrophe S. Please don't capitalize any word like human trafficking, I abbreviate it as HT because that's how we abbreviate words using caps. But please don't think to capitalize words that are either not names. So we capitalize names, like I'm Professor Paparozzi. That's my name, Professor, which is capitalized, and Paparozzi. Or Captain Jones. Captain gets plural capitalized, and Jones gets capitalized because it's a name, even when it has a title. President Wilson. P is capitalized, W is capitalized. But if you have the word authorities in the middle of a sentence, I have no idea why anybody would capitalize that. So there's 3 rules for capitalization. The pronoun I gets capitalized. The pronoun I gets capitalized. The first word of a sentence gets capitalized. And any name, including titles, will be capitalized. And please make sure to proofread your work, because you're handing me something and I'm looking at it and realizing you have words in there that shouldn't be in there, and you have words that are just missing. So please read it out loud to proofread your work. We spell out numbers from 1 to 9, and after that you can put numerals. But numerals can never begin a sentence. So if it's 56,000, you have to write 50-6,000 men did this or men did that, whatever. You have to spell it out if it begins a sentence. So never start a sentence with a numeral like a 1 or a 2. But write out those words if it begins a sentence. But in the sentence, any number between 1 and 9 must be written out. 1, W-O-N-E, 2, T-W-O, etc. And a lot of you are getting to that second question about whether it's a source, destination, or transit country. So a source country is where victims come from. Okay? I don't need you to tell me the definition. You have to tell me the facts why a country is a source country. A destination country is a country where victims are taken to for the purposes of trafficking. A transit country is, we probably have a lot of them, and we may not have a lot of evidence on it, but a transit country is a victim is transported across the country. And all of you are saying that, this country is a source, destination, and transit country, and then you don't explain why. You tell me about the problem in the country, but you don't explain why. So why is it a source country? Well, because victims, like for example, North Korea is a great example. North Korea is a source country for victims going to China especially. So women and girls especially trying to escape Kim Jong-un are sold into, are trying to escape, or they're sold into trafficking and sent to China to be brides. So it's a source country. Is it a destination country? I don't think North Korea was a destination country at all. And it's clearly not a transit country. We're not bringing people, traffickers are not bringing people through North Korea to get somewhere else. So if it's only one, that's fine. I won't disagree with you as long as you've done your research. And finally, I would just say, reiterate, you're doing well, but if you don't use my examples, and if you use the word they instead of it referring to one country, or the word government or the word country itself, you're not going to get above a 90, even if the rest of your work is excellent. The final thing is your recommendations. Your recommendations cannot reflect what is written in the tip report, because that's just a bunch of commands. And a command is, do this, do that, punish him, prosecute him, whatever. No. You must write out a full sentence. The Ukraine must prosecute traffickers. Ukraine must punish traffickers with prison sentences instead of probation. So it has to start with the words Ukraine should, Ukraine must, whatever you want to do. But it cannot start out with a verb, which means that you're giving me a command. So punish him, prosecute him. Please don't do that. And if you have my template and you watch and you read it really carefully, you wouldn't have made that mistake. And a lot of you made it this week. So good luck, and I hope you're enjoying this course. And I'm sorry if I've been out of it a little bit. I've been in the hospital, so I just want to make sure that I'm trying to stay on top of your work. You don't need to send me revisions on anything unless you got a very low score, and I told you you can submit a revision to get a higher grade. Only if I tell you you can do it again should you do it again. Thank you so much.